Amidst the ruins of Berlin, beneath the relentless pounding of Allied bombs, lay a labyrinth of despair, known simply as the bunker. It was here in this underground complex that Adolf Hitler, the architect of unimaginable horrors, retreated with his inner circle. What secrets did these underground chambers hold? How did they shape the final days of the Nazi regime? And what can their remnants tell us about the psyche of one of history's most evil men? Join us as we uncover the dark secrets of Hitler's bunker, a journey into the heart of darkness where desperation echoed through the halls, and the weight of a collapsing empire pressed down on the minds of those who inhabited it. Hitler's bunker was more than just a place, it was a symbol of a crumbling regime, a broken ideology, and a dictator's descent into madness. But how did this underground complex become the epicenter of a nation's demise? And what makes it such a compelling subject even today? Berlin was no stranger to air raids by the time Hitler decided to construct his shelter there. But as the war turned against Germany, the Allied bombing campaign intensified. By 1943, the threat to Berlin was so serious that Hitler's personal quarters at the Chancellery were heavily bombed. Hitler felt increasingly isolated and anxious, spending more and more time in his private apartments deep within the Chancellery. These apartments were designed for comfort and luxury, but they lacked proper protection against air raids. In late 1943, an Allied bomb hit the building next door to Hitler's apartment, sending him running to the nearest shelter. This incident highlighted the inadequacy of the Chancellor's office as a secure location. Something more substantial was needed. On January 1944, Hitler summoned his personal secretary, Otto Gunsch, and ordered him to find a suitable place for a reinforced command post. Gunsch, along with the aid of the army and SS, scoured Berlin for a suitable location. Their search led them to a building at the Wopo Tor, a former police headquarters. Initially, the site had been chosen as a potential location for Hitler's new residence after the war. The building's solid concrete construction made it perfect for converting into a bomb-proof bunker. However, another advantage soon became apparent. The site was only 600 meters from the Chancellor's office. It was close enough for Hitler to commute daily, yet far enough away to be out of earshot from the noise of the city. By January 24th, the site was ready. Designated as the Vorbunker, it consisted of three main areas connected by underground corridors. There was the residential area, which included bedrooms and bathrooms for Hitler and his inner circle. The second part was the working area, housing offices, a conference room, and a movie theater. The third section was the protected outer areas, including the entrance, the air raid warden's post, the kitchen, and the storage rooms. All these areas were linked by a network of tunnels and staircases, making the entire complex indistinguishable from a small town. Once inside the Vorbunker, it is hard to imagine a life less suited to its purpose. Despite being underground, natural light could enter the rooms via glass blocks set into the ceilings. The walls were covered with fabric, wallpaper, and the floors with thick carpets. Beds were neatly made, and the furniture was polished. Even the conference room was fully equipped with chairs around a large table. Yet this veneer of normalcy hid a darker reality. A strict set of rules governed life inside the bunker. Anyone entering the premises had to undergo a thorough search. Food was rationed, and special permission was required to use the bathroom facilities. Lights were kept dim to conserve electricity, and all windows were sealed shut. This was not a place of power or luxury, but a prison where paranoia and fear ran rampant. As the war situation worsened, Hitler became increasingly isolated. Only a carefully selected few were allowed to see him. Visitors had to pass a strict security check and were forbidden from discussing the outside world. Any news that reached Hitler had to be filtered and approved by his secretaries. This was done to protect Hitler from the truth, as his inner circle feared that knowledge of the dire situation would send him into a rage. Hitler spent his days in his bedroom watching the news on a radio or listening to music. He would then retreat to the conference room, where he would meet with his top advisors to discuss strategy. Despite the bunker's supposed purpose, strategy was never really discussed. Instead, Hitler would rant and rave about past victories and impossible future scenarios. Those who attended these meetings knew that they were merely going through the motions. Victory was no longer a viable option. They were fighting a lost cause. One of the most chilling aspects of the bunker was the so-called party. True, a device installed in Hitler's bedroom that allowed him to communicate directly with party leaders across Germany. This system allowed for immediate communication, but it also ensured that Hitler was always surrounded by the voices of sycophants and yes-men. This only served to reinforce his delusions of grandeur and made him even more resistant to the truth. When Allied troops closed in on Berlin, the atmosphere in the bunker became even more tense. Food supplies dwindled and the threat of air raids loomed constantly. Hitler's inner circle knew that the end was near. They had seen the evidence, the dwindling supplies, the constant air raids, and the lack of any meaningful resistance. Yet they remained trapped in the bunker with a madman. In the face of imminent death, some turned to religion. Pastor Paul confessed his faith and forgave his captors. Others turned on each other, spreading rumors and sowing discord. Some hoped that by currying favor with Hitler, they might be able to escape the bunker and live to fight another day. But there was no escape. The bunker was a tomb, and all those who entered it knew that they would die there. In the end, it was Hitler who emerged as the tragic figure. He was surrounded by enemies, but he refused to listen to reason. He was trapped in a maze of his own making, unable to see the light of day or hear the sound of birdsong. When the Red Army finally entered the bunker, they found a leader who had lost touch with reality, a man who had let his own demons consume him. As we conclude our journey into the dark secrets of Hitler's bunker, let us take a moment to appreciate the courage of those who risked their lives to uncover the truth of what happened there. Historians, researchers, and journalists have pieced together the events of those final days through meticulous research and interviews with survivors. Their work has shed light on a period of history that was shrouded in secrecy and allowed us to better understand the complexities of one of the darkest chapters in human history. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below with your thoughts on this gripping historical event. Your comments help us understand what aspects of history you find most intriguing and allow us to tailor our future content to your interests. We value your feedback and are excited to continue sharing captivating historical tales with you. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you.